So my name is Sherry. I work at the Huntingdon County Conservation District. Before I get into the meat and bones of what the dirt, gravel, and low volume road program is, I wanted to start by just telling you what the Conservation District is. So for those who don't know, conservation districts are intended to protect soil and water in our local community. These county organizations were created largely after the Dust Bowl in the 1930s, when agricultural soils were literally blowing away in the wind, and they realized how important it is to conserve those natural resources. So today we do still work to conserve our local soils and water through education, offering technical assistance. We bring grant funding into the county, and we do administer some state programs locally. Some of our programs include agricultural programs, such as agricultural land preservation, the manure management and nutrient management programs. We help preserve water quality by restoring streams, planting trees, monitoring water quality, environmental education, and the erosion and sedimentation pollution control program. So that's the E&S program that many of you are probably familiar with. Any earth disturbance over 1 acre in area does require an NPDES permit through the Conservation District. That stands for National Pollutant Discharge Elimination System. Smaller earth disturbances and smaller construction projects still have to control any accelerated erosion that might result from their activity, but they don't necessarily need the permit through our office. So I do just always like to point that out, especially to a municipal audience, so you're familiar with that. And of course, if any of you ever have questions about any of these programs, you're always welcome to reach out to us. We'll have contact information at the end of the presentation as well. And last but not least, the dirt, gravel, and low volume road program is one thing that we do at the Conservation District, which is why you're all here today. So what is the dirt, gravel, and low volume road program? In short, if you have water issues on your roads and you need money to fix those issues, this is the program for you. The dirt, gravel, and low volume road program provides grant funding for public roads that drain to a stream, lake, wetland, or other body of water. And these 3 photos here are just an example of a couple different types of projects that we've completed. I guess I should have checked this sooner. Can you guys see when I move my mouse around that I'm pointing to things? Okay, so on the far left here, there's a storm sewer installation that was done with low volume road grant money. In the center is more of what some people will call a traditional dirt and gravel road project that involved drainage improvements, road base, and surface improvements. And then on the right here is a stream crossing replacement. I often get asked how much funding is available. Thankfully, we do receive about the same amount of money each year for this program in Huntingdon County. We get about $260-some thousand for the dirt and gravel roads, and then between $80,000 and $90,000 for low volume roads. That amount will vary a little bit year to year, but those are kind of what our averages from the last several years. You'll notice we have 2 separate pots of money for 2 different types of roads. So I wanted to start by explaining that difference. Of course, dirt and gravel roads are unpaved roads. This is an example before and after project, photos of a project that was a dirt and gravel road project. And the low volume roads are any paved or sealed, including tar and tip or tip seal roads with less than 500 vehicles a day. So they're really low traffic volume paved or sealed roads. And if you think about your local municipal roads and how many vehicles a day you have on them, you'll probably realize that most municipal roads in Huntingdon County do meet that traffic count, that threshold to be considered low volume. And here's just the before and the after of that example. So why do we have grant money for roads that are near streams? Turns out water is the #1 thing that destroys our roads, and roads actually have a really big impact on our local water quality. And so by improving our roads, we not only get a better road, but we get cleaner streams. And that's really the overarching, why does this program exist? So before we get into too many details of the program, I wanted to just start kind of with that general thinking about how water moves through the environment and how roads impact that. So I'm sure you've all seen the water cycle before. Water on the surface of the earth evaporates, condenses into clouds, and then those clouds send precipitation back to the earth. So that's rain, snow, sleet, etc. The actual way water moves through the environment is a little more complicated, and I'm not going to go through this photo in detail, but I do want to point out just a couple areas here. So when we talk about runoff, that's the rain that just runs across the surface of the earth. And that's what we consider stormwater, and that typically causes us a lot of issues, especially on our roads. But there's also a portion of that precipitation, that snow and rainwater, that infiltrates and soaks underground. We don't necessarily think about that as much because we don't see it. It's not a problem for us, but that water is really important because it recharges our groundwater, our aquifers. And if any of you or your friends or neighbors have well water, you know that we drink and use water from underground. That groundwater also feeds the base flow for our streams. So anytime you see a stream running when it's not actively raining, it's probably being fed by groundwater that's clean and cooler and really high quality for that wildlife that lives in the stream. Also, those of us who don't drink groundwater probably drink water that's been piped from a stream to a treatment plant, and then we drink that. So when we're talking about stormwater on our roads, there's a lot of specifics that we'll get into, but in the grand scheme of things, we actually want that runoff to be infiltrating underground so that we can have clean drinking water and healthy streams. So here's just another picture of a hillside. Before you might build a road on it, as you can see, all these arrows show that water goes underground and a little bit runs off over the surface as well. When we build a road, that catches a lot of that stormwater, and because roads are impervious, water can't go down through them and infiltrate anymore. So those blue arrows, of course, are showing where the water goes. And when a road catches water and it runs down the length of it, it can cause a lot of damage. Here's an example photo of a road where the ditch got washed out about 3 feet, 5 feet, 6 feet wide in places. Clearly, that's a huge safety hazard and a huge headache because now whoever owns that road has to take time and money to go back and fix this and replace all that material that washed away. So to be managing the water better, we need to get it off our roads. But we do have to be careful because sometimes we can just transfer stormwater issues somewhere else. If you just pipe all of that water into 1 or 2 locations, now you can have the exact same thing happening off the side of your road where that water coming out of the pipes is digging a big dirty tail ditch, which in this picture is in the woods, but could be in a neighbor's front yard or a farm field, places we don't want to be putting a lot of water either. This is another example of a road that didn't have enough outlets for the water, and this cross pipe got clogged in a storm. You can see where the water jumped up over the road, washed away this ditch, and right on the other side, there's a stream there. And so that's the connection with water quality, is that when our roads wash out, that material usually ends up in a stream. Here's another road that I happened to be on a day it started to rain, and this light brown, almost yellowish, maybe chocolate milk colored liquid on the edge there forces the dirty water, washing away the road edge from the ditch. You can see where it goes through a short section of woods and outlets directly into this stream. You can see that cloud of dirty water washing downstream. Now, this is an issue because nobody wants extra dirty water. Again, if we're piping this water to a treatment plant and drinking it, it's going to cost more money to take more sediment out of it. So if we can prevent that road material from getting into the stream, that'll save a lot of time and money, both on the water treatment end and on the road end. Extra sediment in our streams can also harm the wildlife that lives there by smothering habitat, clogging fish gills, things like that. It can cause erosion issues downstream and even change flooding patterns if there's too much extra sediment being put into our streams. We don't necessarily think of dirt and gravel as a pollutant, but sediment, extra sediment, is actually the #1 pollutant in Pennsylvania streams by volume. In addition to causing all those other issues I just mentioned, it can carry oil from cars, pesticides, extra nutrients, whatever it might be in the soil or the road or wherever that source is. It can carry other things into the water that's also damaging your water quality. So I think it's very obvious, we can all agree that our roads do us no good if they wash away into our streams. And so this program is about fixing those stormwater issues so we don't have to worry about that. And the solution is actually pretty simple. We really just want to mimic natural water movement as much as possible. And so before the road was there, the water was spread out, and any water that did run down the surface ran not necessarily in a condensed area, but just spread out. And so by adding more cross pipes to a road and spreading out and slowing down that stormwater runoff, you're giving it more chance to infiltrate into the ground and not accumulate and erode anything that you're worried about. So here's that example project again. Just at first glance, it might not seem like there was much more done than resurfacing the road, but when we really dig into it, you can see how they changed the drainage to really make a long-lasting improvement here. So in the before picture, I almost forgot. There is a stream that runs next to this road. That's always important to keep in mind. Some streams aren't that close to roads. They won't be competitive for this grant program. But anywhere there's a stream close to a road and that water from the road drains into the stream, that's going to be eligible for this money. And so you don't see it in this picture, but further down the road, that water does, just like we saw in that example photo earlier, kind of jump out from the road and it gets off into the stream. So the before picture, the road's the low spot. So when it rains, the water accumulates there and runs down the road surface in the wheel ruts. Water always finds the low spot, and it just takes a little tiny bit of a low spot for water to start to accumulate. And then the longer it runs down the road surface, the more water accumulates, the faster it goes, the more of your road it can wash away. So in the after picture, they actually built up the road significantly and reshaped it. So the water now runs off side to side because the road is crowned and it's the highest in the center. When the water runs off the side of the road, it has a much shorter distance to go, and there won't be so much water or water moving quickly enough to be eroding the surface when it runs off that way. So right here, right where that label is, you can see the road is now higher than the surrounding area, and that water will just wash off over there, soak into the ground, not cause any issues. On this left-hand side of the after photo, you could still get water accumulating in a ditch and washing that out. And so another thing you can't see easily in this photo is that this township installed a lot of that water out of that ditch and outlet it on the lower side of the road here. So I do have a couple during photos to show that. They raised this road about 1 foot higher than it used to be to really allow that water to run off this side. This is where it ties into a driveway. And no, they did not leave it like this. We tied it in much more smoothly. But at this kind of in-between point, I wanted to take a few photos to show how much higher they're making the road to improve that drainage. Again, water goes to the low spot. So if you make your road the high spot, that gets the water off more quickly. And this is one of the cross pipes installed on that road. You can see that there's no ditch or erosion or issues at the outlet there. When it rains, there's just a little bit of water coming out of each pipe because they put enough pipes in. And so now it just soaks into the ground at the outlet of the pipe and doesn't cause that accelerated erosion that could damage a yard or wash out the edge of a road. This is a bit more of a creative solution. This is an example low volume road project from our neighbors over in Blair County. So a big thank you to the Blair County Conservation District for sharing this information and these photos with me so I can share it with you. This municipality had a little piece of road that was really a dead end. It didn't go anywhere, but there's a stream back here through this tree line, and it was impacting the stream there. And so the municipality decided to retire the road and make it into a rain garden, which if you're not familiar with that concept, it's probably exactly what it sounds like. You plant some flowers and some other plants, it becomes a garden, and it helps absorb rainwater, which again is another great way to just get that water to infiltrate and go underground, so you're not having to deal with moving it somewhere else on the surface. So they did excavate and build some underground storage here. You can see the rain garden is like a depression. And so it's that low spot where rainwater wants to go. And you can also see there are a few inlets here. So if they ever do get a lot of rain and this whole basin fills up, it's an overflow that the water can get into those drainage systems and move a little more quickly out of the area. So this is a photo from 1 year after they did the project. You can see how green it is. They planted all kinds of native flowers and shrubs and some trees, which help slow down, absorb, and use that ground or that surface water and help extra water infiltrate underground instead of puddle on the surface or run off into somewhere else where we don't want it. And so there's just some more photos there. Now, I know most of you probably aren't looking to turn your roads into rain gardens. This is not the most practical solution for our stormwater issues all of the time, but it can be implemented on a much smaller scale. So this is a residential area also in Blair County, where they installed a series of little baby rain gardens or bioswales, where in the roadside ditch, they just did a few plantings in the yards of people who are agreeable, partly in the right-of-way, partly outside the right-of-way. And that does the exact same thing where it slows down water, absorbs it, helps it go underground. You can see there's an inlet box here so that there is a place that extra water can go and really high flows on big storms that water has somewhere to go. And there are pipes underneath that connect this and outlet it if you have extra water. So I just thought that was really creative and worth sharing. And then moving on to the next section here, streams are where they cross roads are another really big area where we have to worry about water issues on our roads. So this map just shows blue lines, which are streams, and brown and black lines, which are roads. And the point of having this map in here is to show there's a lot of streams and a lot of roads in Huntingdon County. And a lot of them are in the same places, which means our roads and streams cross a lot, and that's a lot of places to deal with extra water. We can replace stream crossing structures with dirt, gravel, and low volume road funding when the existing structure is significantly undersized or there's multiple pipes for one stream crossing. These new structures we install with the grant program do have specific criteria to meet, and they likely require a permit from the Department of Environmental Education, Department of Environmental Protection. Here's an example before picture of a pipe that is very undersized and clearly in poor condition. During heavy storms, rainwater would fill up the stream and it would burst out the end of this pipe like a fire hose, eroding the edge of the road, which is clearly falling in here. So another situation where it's a huge safety concern, big issue with road maintenance and not at all good for the stream. And here's the after photo where we put a much wider, flatter structure in to accommodate that stream, the natural shape of the stream a little bit better. I know some of you on the call today actually are working on these projects, but if anyone else is interested in maybe applying for grant funding to do one of these projects, I just want to encourage you to let me know as soon as you think you might be interested, because they do take a little more planning, and that way we can get you started early and make sure we have time to plan the whole thing. This is the kind of end goal here. The dirt, gravel, and low volume road program goes a little above and beyond of perhaps some normal stream projects by trying to do stream simulation, which really means we're just going to mimic the natural stream channel through your road. That means we're going to align the stream and the stream crossing structure under the road with the natural stream. You can see how it flows through without having to change direction significantly. And we're going to try and maintain the natural width that that channel wants to be through your road. In addition to that, this structure even has space to build stream banks. And then you'll notice there's stream bed material through the bottom as well. And placing all of that rock in the stream crossing structure really helps protect it from scour. I think we all know when it rains, a lot more than water moves, our streams can carry debris and sticks and gravel and rocks and things like that. And those are all abrasive things that can scrape off the coating on metal pipes and wear them out and help them rust and fall apart more quickly. And so now by lining the pipe with this natural stream bed material, when it rains and that material moves through, it's actually rock on rock, not rock on pipe. And that'll protect it and help it last even longer. Another way to look at this is from above. The blue line is the stream, the gray rectangle is the road, and that light gray pipe is your stream crossing structure. So when it rains, there's more water in the stream. And just like traffic that's merging from 6 lanes down to 2, when your stream is wider than your stream pipe, it has to slow down and kind of squeeze in to try to get into that pipe. And you can get water backing up on the inlet side and then bursting out the outlet side like we talked about. Also, like we already talked about, there's more than water moving through that. And with these significantly undersized structures, that material can't move through. The pipe gets clogged, sediment forms a big wedge at the inlet. And that's a high maintenance thing because now every time it rains, you might have to be out at that stream crossing trying to clean it out and keeping that pipe open so the water can get through. And of course, as we already talked about as well, at the outlet, that water can burst out so quickly, it can erode the side of your road and actually wash it away, causing some pretty expensive, high maintenance issues there, just like we saw in the before photo. So to do better, that's why this program focuses on putting in those wide, flat structures. So now when it rains and there's more water filling up the stream all the way to where the banks are full, that bank full width of the stream can fit through your road without having to slow down or narrow up. And then again, if we go above and beyond and build those stream banks through, it'll really protect the edges of your pipe. So now when it rains and debris washes down, it can just pass through your road. You don't have to worry about it damaging your pipe, clogging, flooding, eroding. When you put these nice wide structures in, it's very low maintenance and it's just much easier to deal with long term. Now, obviously these have a pretty high investment. So the grant program is a great way to help you be able to afford to put these larger structures in. So again, I just encourage anyone who's interested to reach out early. As we started off with, it is a great grant program, but we do also have limited funds. So it can be competitive to get these kinds of larger projects funded. So now if you're interested in any of those kinds of projects, how does it work? I will say that that was just a very brief overview of the type of work. Hopefully it was a good enough general description that you might all have some ideas of maybe roads that could use some of these improvements, but there are some other types of drainage improvements we could do with this grant program that we haven't mentioned in this webinar today. So if you're interested, you have to make sure you're eligible for the grant program. Then you'll meet with me to talk about some projects you might be interested in, and then I'll help you put together your grant application, which is submitted back to me at the Conservation District. And then there's several months of behind the scenes work where there's 2 separate boards that will review all the grant applications and rank them to decide what our local priority projects are and decide which ones we're able to fund each year. Then if your project ranks high enough to be funded, the road owner signs the contract with the conservation district and you do the road project. Once the project is done, you receive the grant as reimbursement for the work, and then you can enjoy your road and apply again next year. To make this process a little more concrete, I'll put some dates on there. You can become eligible at any time. I know a lot of you who are on the webinar live today are already eligible, but I will just briefly talk about eligibility requirements after this slide. The pre-application meetings can take place anytime in the spring because applications will be due June 30th, 2021. Then it'll be a couple months, as I mentioned, before anyone's able to sign contracts. That timeline just varies depending on how long that takes, but it will probably be August, September 2021, where we'd be looking to sign contracts. And you can expect to do the road construction project next year in 2022. Then you would receive the grant when the project's done in 2022. And you can apply again next year as well, before you even complete your first project if you want. So right now we are in this half of the bubble where we're talking about eligibility, pre-application meetings, and putting together project applications. And so over the next 2 weeks, there are 2 more webinars just like this scheduled to talk more in detail about these next couple of steps. So next Tuesday, March 23rd, 2021, we'll talk about how applications are ranked so you can understand maybe what some of our priorities are if that helps you pick what your projects would be. And we'll talk about some important policy updates to how the program is run locally in Huntingdon County. Then the following week on March 30th, 2021, we'll talk about project design and how to fill out the grant application, which is something I know I've received a lot of questions about. And that's something I will always work with applicants on one-on-one to help you figure out what to do on each road and how to put it on paper. But I thought it'd be helpful to do a webinar on that general topic as well. I guess, Selena, you haven't chimed in. I'm assuming we don't have any questions so far. Okay. I'm just about done here. Like I said, I'll finish up just by talking a little bit about eligibility and next steps for those who are interested. So in order to apply for this grant funding, you do have to be a public road owning entity. Mostly that's our townships and boroughs. And the person in charge of work plan development has to attend an environmentally sensitive road maintenance training. And that's the ESM training that many of you may have already heard of. Those are held by the Penn State Center for Dirt and Gravel Road Studies. This is their website here. You do have to sign up online. And the person who attends that training for the applicant has to be an employee or an official of the organization. So typically that's your roadmasters, township supervisors, borough council members, road foremen, someone like that. For the engineers and consultants on the line, you are definitely encouraged to attend this training as well if you'll be working on any dirt, gravel, and low volume road projects. However, if an engineer that is hired by a municipality is ESM trained, that doesn't make the municipality eligible to apply for the grants. It's encouraged, but the requirement is that someone at that applying organization has also done this training. Once you do the training, you're considered ESM certified for 5 years. So you can retake this training more than 5 years, but at minimum, you have to do it every 5 years to maintain your eligibility for the grant program. And right now they're doing this all virtually because of the COVID-19 pandemic. So there are virtual trainings scheduled through May of 2021. All of the information is online on their website. And so I have a couple arrows here just pointing to where to find that information online. And the link is also on this page. We can maybe throw that in the chat, or I've emailed it out before. If anyone has specific questions about finding this information, I can certainly send you an email with it. They're hoping to hold some in-person trainings from my understanding, which is why they only have them scheduled through May right now. They're hoping to reassess and maybe do some in-person events later this year, but we just won't know that for sure until the time comes. So if you're interested, attend that training if you haven't done so already. And I do encourage you to attend the webinars as well. So again, just to put it up on the screen there, next Tuesday, we'll talk about application ranking and policy updates for how the program is run locally here in Huntingdon County. And the last Tuesday of the month, March 30th, I'll talk about how to design dirt, gravel, and low volume road projects and how to fill out the grant application, which I don't have on here. The grant application, if you're new to it, is just 2 pages long. It's really the front and back of a page with maybe some additional pages for the sketch. Well, actually the sketch is the back of the application. Usually folks will use a little extra space to do their cost estimate in the grant application, but it's intended to be fairly simple, just enough information to have what we need. If you're interested, I also encourage you to reach out to me one-on-one. Again, I know a lot of you who are on this call today, I've already worked with directly. If anyone's watching this online after the fact and haven't contacted the Conservation District, please do so. You can also check out our website at huntingdoncd.org.